Hey there, everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of the 704 High School Highlight. My name is Jeff Taylor. I am the sports director at Bahakel Sports. Glad to have you along for this episode, and as usual, we've taken it on the road instead of the studios. And today we're at Providence Day. We're going to talk to the basketball coaches. We're going to talk to the football coach, talk about Providence Day, all the success they've had, and what the future looks like as we go into the second half of the basketball season, or near the end of the basketball season. We got Coach Grier here also. We're going to talk a little football. So let me get started with this. I'm going to start with you, Coach. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your journey, and what got you to here.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, for having us. Always a pleasure. Grew up in Appleton, Wisconsin, and big Packer fan, big Wisconsin Badger fan. My first coaching opportunity was with my dad, Joe Springer, at a junior college. We had no basketballs, no players, and no uniforms. It got better from there. And coached collegiately for 7 years, junior college, Division I, Division II, Division III, and have been blessed to be here at PD for the last 16 years.
We mentioned ODAC before we got started, so went to Randolph-Macon. Y'all heard of Randolph-Macon?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, good division. I played football, so I was a place kicker, though. So it's a little, people give me a hard time about that, but I still say college football. Coach, what about yourself?
I am from Somerset, New Jersey. Born there, raised there. Went to college in Florida, a place called Barry University, and played there, and had a good career there. And I think for a little while held the all-time leading scoring record there. And some kid, I think a year or two, came up and stole that from me. But I started coaching there. 1994 was my first year as a high school head coach, and this is my 26th year of doing that, mixed in with some college coaching, assistant at the University of Georgia and Marist College, and also my alma mater, Barry University, and was also an assistant at Binghamton University in New York, and so kind of been around a little bit, and so excited to be here. It's my second year at PD, and so yeah, excited to be here.
Coach Grier?
Born and raised in Charlotte. Spent most of my life here, really, outside of college, and 3 years in Charleston. I was about 25 years in business, mostly IT-related fields, and this would be my 13th year as a head coach. Be my 7th year where I just coach. I mean, I was business and coaching for a while. Not nearly as prolific as these guys. I do have a record, Coach Johnson's record for most points. I guess my record was most consecutive quarters wearing a baseball hat at East Carolina, which is not conducive to a professional career.
Right.
So, but it was. I did learn a lot. So from some really smart coaches, but and made a lot of great friends.
So obviously a lot of success around the table here. Let me ask you guys this also, back with Coach Grier. What drew you to Providence Day? What is it about this school that's so special?
I have a little unique perspective growing up in Charlotte, and I went to my whole family. So my parents went to Harding, aunts and uncles at East Independence. My mom taught at South Meck for forever. Retired from South Meck, became a full-time sub at Myers Park. But my junior year, I went to Charlotte Latin, and much to my mother's chagrin, but it was a great experience for me. Really good people over there, but even at Latin, I had really good friends here at Providence Day, and I think God's hand's kind of been on my career in this journey as a coach. Felt led to go to Charleston after we had some good times at Davidson Day. Some great things happened with kids there. End up in Charleston. I'm never leaving the beach. I mean, I'm happy as I've ever been, and life is good. I was at a great school with a great principal, great kids. Literally could walk to Sullivan's Island. I mean, I'm done. And God, you tell God you got life figured out, He tends to tell you He's got something.
He's going to switch your plans a little bit.
So I've been blessed with a now 3-year-old. I've been at PD 3 years, so you could probably do that math. So I want to raise my youngest son, Hank, around family. So now and I came back to Charlotte, but we wouldn't have come back for really anything other than Providence Day. I mean, my perspective on this place was it always was very intentionally inclusive of thought, of idea, of culture, of creed, of everything. And that's the kind of environment I want to raise my son in. The academics speak for themselves, but it's the sense of community and family here that I think is so unique.
Coach?
Yeah, I think similar to Chad, I think the thing that brought me here was kind of what Providence Day stands for. I think being in the area at a couple other schools, Davidson Day being one of them, I think you know about Providence Day. You've heard a lot about it. We come here to play against Providence Day, and so the bus would pull up, you get off, you go in the gym, and then that's it. But when I was asked to come and talk to them about the position here, you get a chance to really get on campus and meet folks, and everybody I talked to was very positive about their experience here at Providence Day, and I've had a great experience. I've met a lot of good people, and there's some fabulous coaches here on campus, and so yeah, it's been great. It's been really good.
Coach?
Well, I was coaching collegiately for 8 years and wasn't necessarily looking to leave that. But if I was going to leave that avenue, I wanted to go somewhere where we could compete for championships, where we could help kids, sign scholarships. Coach Grier, our soccer coach Dan Dudley, they just got done having a signing today. We just had 10 plus more student athletes signed today. And so we looked into it as a family. And my wife's a 4th grade teacher here. My 2 boys go to school here. It's an outstanding family atmosphere. And I know everybody gets caught up in the buildings. We got the best football stadium in America. We got the best basketball arena in America. We got a brand new academic center there. And all of that is exciting, but truly what got me here and what's kept me here are the people. I mean, our band teachers, they're the best at what they do. Our science teachers, they're the best at what they do. Our coaches, these guys right here, they're the best at what they do. And it starts right at the top. Dr. Glenn Kalishaw, he's been here over a decade, and he's passionate about us being champions in the classroom, in the arts, in athletics, and doing all of those things, not just one of those things. And then obviously Nancy Beatty, our athletic director, has been here over a decade, a former college basketball coach, a former state championship women's basketball coach. And so the leadership on our campus is outstanding, and I think that fosters great coaches, great student athletes, great families. And so I always say the buildings are flashy, but what keeps people here 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and you see that consistently, is the people and the quality of people here.
And I got to agree with that. Being, around Charlotte now for 24 years, we moved here in '99. But you talk about the buildings, you talk about the athletic, facilities, the stadium, the gym, and all of that. For myself, now getting to talk to your students and to talk to your athletes, a lot of times you can have the nice buildings and you can have the great facilities and stuff, but you don't get the product on the field. That's what impresses me so much about all I see here. I'm gonna let you guys sing for just a sec. Coach, obviously congrats, great year, won state championship. As I stood on the sideline and watched 3 or 4 year games, what impressed me the most was a lot of times you can get good athletes and it goes to their head. And it seems like to me you had a very level-headed team, a group of players that were out there as a team. You got the best quarterback in the nation, yet every time I talked to him, it was yes sir, no sir. And it was just this kind of, how proud are you of that? Forget the state championship per se, but just hearing that from somebody who had a chance to interact with your kids.
It means a lot hearing from you right now. I mean, I think that's something we strive to be. We have a core value system, 7 core values. The first one is I value others, and that's all about being a servant leader. We talk about that on a daily basis. We talk about always reaching back, and you don't have a divide here. I mean, if you're in our program, whether in the 7th grade in the middle school program or a senior, you're valued the same. And the older guys are really good about putting an arm around the younger guys and helping them along. And Jaden's a great example of that, and whether it's in the weight room or on the field. But there's a genuine love for each other. We talk about that. It's okay to tell a teammate I love you, and I mean I'm gonna tell the boys I love them every day because I do. Now, part of loving somebody is the responsibility to hold them accountable. Right. I think that's the thing. These kids come from really good families. This is after tax money. It's not cheap. Nobody goes free. Contrary to urban legend, there's no merit scholarships or athletic scholarships. This is a place where parents have to make a real investment in their child's education, and so we've got a great head start at home. So what I find is we're really reinforcing what they're already being taught, but the kids seem very receptive to that. My experience, I think, when you provide structure and discipline and accountability, and you do it from a place of love, kids respond to that. And I think that's what we're seeing here at Providence in our football program.
Coach, we had Jordan on the other night, a great young lady, but she mentioned leaving a legacy. I guess that's kind of your mantra, your theme for your team. Where did that come about, and how did the girls take into that about leaving a legacy?
Yeah, we talked to our seniors at the start of this year and wanted to give them some ownership. Our program motto is "It's not about me," and every year we have a new theme. And this year they came up with that. And obviously, as seniors, Jordan and Lauren said, you know what? What can we do a year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now that will still resonate here on campus? And obviously Jordan's been a fantastic player, stuff in the stat sheet in a number of areas. Lauren just signed her scholarship papers to Denison an hour ago, but obviously their impact goes much deeper than that. And obviously the legacy that they've left with our freshmen, our sophomores, our juniors. This sounds funny. We had a team dinner last night and we had a baking contest. So we want to be champions on the court. They were outstanding. Yes, we've got some All-American bakers to go with All-American basketball players. But, we want to work hard and play hard and truly, truly mean that. And obviously those two are unbelievably special to our program now. And like coaches were talking about earlier, not just now. You know, people throw around these cliches like PD family, and you know, we've been so blessed. We've had 15 alumni come back to watch us in the last couple weeks. They come in and talk to us before the game. They come for our Play for K night, like next week when we wear the pink jerseys in honor of Kay Yao and try to raise resources for breast cancer awareness. And so it truly is that family feel. And when you have that TK to 12 campus, you have 14 years of kids in your program. I've been fortunate that I've been here 16 years, and we had a young lady, Elle Ferguson, graduate 2 years ago. She was in our program for 14 years. She was here at 5 years old in our camp, all the way through, and as a senior, led the state of North Carolina in three-point shooting.
Right.
Now, if that's not a journey, I don't know what is.
Coach, what about yourself? Do you guys have a mantra, a theme that you kind of have each year? Or is it the same one that you let them pick? Or?
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of year to year with us. I mean, I have my own kind of personal kind of things I think that help to build a good program. I think one of those things is kids really sacrificing for team. And I think year two here, Providence Day, still working on that. I think it's become more and more of a challenge, I think, for kids to kind of buy into that. You know, it's about team and not about self. It's a challenge. I think nowadays, like I said, this is my 26th year of doing this, and I think I don't know, maybe the last 6 or 7 years, it's been even more of a challenge of that, probably for a number of different reasons. But I like our group that we've got now. I think the kids are they're young. It's a really young group of guys. We've got 4 sophomores, three freshmen, three juniors, and 1 senior. So I like that group. I think they're developing, they're getting better. But part of it, before it even kind of hits the court, it really is about kind of it is the culture that you're trying to build within your program, and that's something that we're still trying to kind of get our arms around and get kids to really understand that and buy into that. And like I said, it's a challenge for kids because you do hold them accountable. I think if you don't do that, then I think you're not being true to the kid and being true to your program. So we're still developing that. I like where we're going, but we still got a ways to go. I think I'm sitting here listening to Josh. He says, what, 16 years
Yes,
he's been
sir.
here? 16 years he's been here, and he's done some phenomenal things here. Coach has done some great things here, too, in a short period of time. And so it's one of the reasons why I came, honestly, is because I've had some success in other places, but at PD, I mean, the standard is excellence, and trying to get our boys basketball program to a place where I think they've touched it before, and I want to try to get us there and be consistent about being in that place. But you come here because, as a coach, you want to be around other guys who coach that way, and other women who coach that way really want excellence from their kids, and that's kind of what we want as well.
Yeah, I was here Tuesday night, I think, when y'all played Charlotte Christian, and I could just see the team mentality that you guys had out there, in a close game too.
Yeah.
Girls wasn't as close, but hey. But and I was talking to Coach, and you guys can maybe all expand on this a little bit. I was talking to Coach, and I said, you won by 40. How do you coach? Like you go out sometimes and you can blow people away, but like I was talking a little bit before we got started, when your second and third string gets in, they need to play. You don't want them to not play. How difficult is that sometimes as a coach when you're up by that? You want your team to succeed, you want them to grow, and you want that second or third string to get their chances. How do you walk that fine line of, how do you coach something like that?
I really believe the preparation needs to be the same. I really believe that. You can't practice hard the day before the state championship and then let down your guard when you're playing a lesser opponent. And that's fighting human nature. It's fighting human nature as a coach and as a player. But when you have elite standards like these guys do, like I think we do in our program, we often say we're competing against ourselves.
Right.
Let's be the best version of us, individually and collectively. And we tell our players all the time, expect to win, don't hope to win. And we don't say that arrogantly, but if you truly invest, if you truly prepare in practice, studying film, in the weight room, you should expect to be confident when you walk out on the floor on Tuesday or Friday. If you don't do those things, you haven't earned the right to be confident in the classroom or on the court. And so I just think the message we try to say is, are we being the best version of us every possession? Whether we're up 70-30 or, God forbid, if we're on the other end of it, 70-30.
And whether it's second or third string, I guess you got to roll with that.
Absolutely, because everybody's role matters. Everybody's role matters, and everybody's role can change from one week to the next week. And we value, our program motto is it's not about me, and helping our best player and our 10th player and 12th player, our first assistant coach, fourth assistant coach, 7th grade assistant coach, whoever it is, understand that Everybody brings something important to the table. That was a lesson I learned really, really valuable when I was a grad assistant at Ohio University. I was about the 8th assistant coach, sending fax machines and pulling out the chair for the head coach.
Right.
And I learned some really valuable lessons then, that everybody's role matters. And in successful programs, successful businesses, successful organizations, we have to celebrate everybody's role.
Right.
We can't just say everybody's role matters.
How do you keep them level-headed, Coach? Like, when you get up big, or you go out and you dominate a team, how do you keep them level-headed? I mean, we're talking about teenagers. How do you keep them kind of like, hey, on a level playing field? Does that make sense?
Well, you can't do it in the moment. I mean, that's
Right.
all. It's
Okay.
it's the process and the preparation, and humility is something that I think some kids are born with it, but I think you can learn it. And I think that part of one of the core tenets of our program is hard work. It's compete at everything, quit at nothing. Our goal is to compete with class at the highest level possible. So, kind of following what Josh was saying, it's just the expectation. It takes what it takes. The standard is the standard. All the cliches you want, but at the end of the day, we have expectations of kids performing at a high level, doing their dead level best, whatever that is. And the score really is irrelevant to, am I doing the best I possibly can, and am I playing for myself? Am I playing for my teammates? We talk about that a lot. Don't play with each other, play for each other. And when you make it about something bigger than yourself, those kind of things just take care of themselves.
And on the football side, been very successful. When we were talking the other night at the game, at the basketball game, you've had a couple busy weeks here with some pretty big coaches coming in. How proud are you of that? And how cool is it for the kids to see somebody like a Kirby Smart here?
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing. I'm not going to kid. Kirby Smart lands a helicopter.
That's what I did. But the only question was, I saw it on social media. Did he land it here?
He did. He sure did. And with some unique challenges. There was a funeral going at the church across the street, so we were trying to time it. And they're literally the guy, his handlers, text me. I'm like, please, you can't land on the stadium, but that's near the cemetery. Please come to the baseball field. So
right.
they come swooping in and they'd take a big turnaround. But that was cool, man. And it's fun for our kids. But really, what that means is they're not coming to see me. I mean, they're coming
right.
to see. It just says we've got some really good players. And what I love is, I love talking about this, is, we've got some guys that really have earned the old-fashioned way the success they're getting. People on the outside can say, "Oh, well, just a D1 kid," and I love to go tell their stories.
Right.
Jordan Shipp was a quarterback his whole life till he got here, and he became one of the most coveted receivers in the country. David Sanders was a basketball player. No, sorry, Ron, that hurts, because I'm sure he'd be a great one.
Right.
But he's the #1 ranked prospect in the nation in his class, which never happens for a lineman. And you never have two services, 247 rivals agree on the same guy. That's unusual too. But you just got Brody Barnhart was a running back on a bad middle school team. Now he's one of the most coveted safeties in the country. Really, I mean, these kids have worked and they bought into the culture. And I know exactly what Ron means. I mean, when you start the first year here, and it was COVID, it's my culture, and I'm trying to force it onto them. The second year is kind of that transition where you're starting to see it. It's give and take, but it's coming. Our third year last year, I mean, the kids owned it. And the details, the attention to detail, the little things in the program that you, frankly, have to coach so much harder until that culture takes root. It's actually easier. I mean, now the kids own that. They take care of the details, and it's my job to police it and make sure I don't allow, whatever you allow becomes your culture. So my job is to make sure that, we're holding the standard. But, I mean, it's really cool to see kids work to earn the success and recognition. See those kids. We had 7 sign. We have at least 2 more, maybe a third. Will continue to play off of this group, and we've got some great ones coming behind them. So it's a lot of fun and very rewarding for me to see. Again, we have 3 goals, not to win a game. Our goal is to win kids, compete with class at the highest possible level, and the third goal really is to provide a great high school experience. And for any kid that has the desire and ability to play at the next level, we enable that. And so we take a lot of pride in helping our kids. I can't promise them a scholarship. I can promise I can get them evaluated.
Right.
And they
You're gonna get them to that spot, or at least.
Yeah, they write the story. I get
Right.
to tell it, and and you can tell I can talk a lot. So I spend a lot of time talking and talking to coaches. And the truth of it is, these kids are great students. They come from great families, and their film's going to speak for itself. So if they put the preparation in to great film, it's an easy story to tell. We find places for kids to land.
For you, Coach, 2 years you've been here, you said.
Yep.
The second year. You see signing day, though, and you've seen the successes had. For you as a coach, how excited are you to see signing day and to know some of the kids that you're coaching right now where they're going to head or what the future looks like, even for the younger kids?
Yeah, no, it is exciting. I think it's great just on this campus alone. Not just I think when you're a basketball coach and you see field hockey players sign. If you're a basketball player and you see kids sign in other sports, I think it's exciting for the school. But then also I think for kids it gives them some hope. Hey, I can do that. I can be that. And I've been fortunate to have some kids who have played at high levels, and I think for kids, I think given the opportunity to play any level really. I think that's another thing that we really try to impress upon kids, that not everybody's given that opportunity, whether it's Division I, II, or III, that you're given this chance to play at the collegiate level. And it's exciting for kids. I think it's not just about Division I. It's about being able to continue to play at that next level. And I think kids get excited about it. And I always talk to our kids, particularly the kids who say they want to play collegiately. I want them open to whether it's Division I, II, and III, and not every kid's going to play at the Division I level.
That's
I think
correct.
being open to that opportunity, whatever comes up, I think is great for kids.
I always tell them college ball is college ball.
Yeah.
You can tell people you played college football, whether it's Division I, II, or III. You
that's
played
right.
college lacrosse,
Yeah.
field hockey, whatever it is. Okay, so let me ask you guys this, and you can pass if you'd like, but one thing that I've kind of struggled with over the last year or two has been the transfer portal. I knowing that I've watched kids, and all three of my boys, one of them is still there, but my three kids all went to Providence High School. And I know kids at Providence who probably could have played at the next level, but have not gotten the opportunity. I don't know that I like the transfer portal, and I don't know, and I'll start over here then. Has it, to me, as a father and I'm 55 and I've watched college football and college sports forever, for me it's taken away a little bit of the purity of the game, if that makes sense. It seems to have taken away just a hair from it and maybe taken the opportunity away from some kids who really deserve it.
Yeah, I don't know about the purity of the game so much from my perspective, but it's definitely in the football world, which is still recruited out of high school, which we don't have the showcases and the tournament. It's a little different. So it's all kind of just recruited out of high school. It has literally cut high school opportunities in half, and in some cases more. A friend of mine took a job at Arizona State, new staff. Hey, we got to do a roster rebuild. They took their class of 24, 20 were portal kids. Wow. They took 4 high school kids. I mean, there's so many examples of this. The roster rebuild approach now is portal. I have coaches, Mike Houston, East Carolina, who I'm a big fan of. I'm at East Carolina, and Mike said in my office, Coach, we're going to take at least half of our kids out of high school every year. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Now, wait a minute, what am I saying? You're literally telling me you're cutting in half the number of high school kids you're going to bring in your program.
Which could be 12 or something
Well,
out of like.
a normal class is 25.
Right.
So, not all based on numbers. Sometimes you can only take 15 in a year, so
Right.
whatever it is. But,
Right.
the truth is that's pretty typical right now. I mean, about half is what's available. And you start doing the math on how many kids play. And to Ron's point, everybody grows up wants to play at Clemson or Alabama or Georgia or whatever. Very, very few kids get that opportunity. A lot of great places that play ball that you get a great education and use ball to help you get there. And I think what I've seen is from a football perspective, if you're a 4 or 5-star kid, nothing's really changed other than you're going to get paid because of the NIL stuff. If you're a 3-star, 2, everybody's getting pushed down at least one level and really 2 in a lot of cases. So a FCS kid is a D3, D2 kid. A group of 5 kid is an FCS kid. And it's hard to get kids to understand that. But, between the portal and NIL, there's chaos. And then you add in, you still have 2 years left of the COVID seniors or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's created some, real challenges for college coaches re-recruiting their own rosters. But it's certainly presented a huge challenge for high school coaches trying to help kids get to the next level.
Coach, basketball side, transfer portal. Well, what your thoughts?
I would just say in general, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And I think we get so caught up in the label on somebody's shirt, and is it Division I, Division II, Division III, NAI, junior college. You have to be in the top 5% in the country to go play at any of those places.
Right.
And I think sometimes you walk down the hallway at school, this school or any other school, and it's every other guy's going to go play college basketball. Every other guy's going to go play college football. Every other lady's going to go play college basketball. It is hard to play at the college level anywhere. So it's a major accomplishment. Now, to your point, I think last year there were 12 or 1,300 young ladies in the transfer portal. And I've asked a lot of college coaches over the last few months and spoke to a couple D1 coaches last week, and they said, Josh, for 10% of the kids, it's the right thing. But we can all do the math and say what that says for the rest.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, And sometimes kids are at a bad place, a bad situation, didn't have my academic major, that coach didn't recruit me, it's not a good fit for style of play. And so for some, it is the right move. But for some, unfortunately, and I don't really think it matters what sport is, when I hit adversity, let me turn and run.
Right.
And I get concerned about that as a dad and as a husband and as a teacher and a coach. All four of us are going to face adversity today and tomorrow and this weekend. Small things, large things. And so how do we teach kids to develop grit, right? Handle adversity, positive mistake response. For me personally, it's lean on the Lord, lean on my family, lean on my friends, and then find a way to be better and learn and grow from that situation. But I think you mentioned it earlier, we're going through the handshake line, and it's, hey, Coach Springer sent a message by putting you on the bench, and this coach says, hey, I'll call you at 5 o'clock today, see you on campus Saturday.
Right.
That's really hard to teach big picture lessons for kids, and the football field's our classroom. The basketball court's our classroom for teaching these kids life lessons. And I know that's the most cliche saying in the world, but it's the honest to God truth. So do we have those opportunities to teach those things for discipline, accountability, team building, truly understanding it's not about me, or do we run away from it the second someone holds me accountable?
Right. Coach, thoughts?
Yeah, transfer portal. It's been really challenging, I think, for kids. I think if you're a high school kid and you are hoping to play at the next level and you don't sign in November, I just think come March in the spring, it's going to be really difficult for you to do that. I've watched kids who I think could play at the next level not know where they're going until June, just because they're waiting for those schools who are so involved now with transfer portal kids that it's a challenge for kids. It really is. It's kind of sad, really, because I think in the past where kids sometimes wait until the spring because I'm going to have a good season, have a strong season. I don't think that matters as much anymore to college coaches. Again, it's not just college coaches' fault. It's just the way that it is now, and
right.
that they are. Do I take a 22-year-old kind of seasoned, Division I
veteran,
player?
let's
Yeah,
say.
veteran kid. Yeah, do I take that, or do I take a 17, 18-year-old who I'm still not sure how he's going to versus a proven product? So it works out for some kids, I think, at the kids who are transferring and finding those schools to go to. But I think for high school kids, it's a tough deal. It really is. It's hard to sometimes explain that to kids and also their parents because they are thinking that my kid's gonna go somewhere, right?
Right.
He might have to wait. He might have to wait a little while. So.
And at the end of the day, too, did you want to?
Can I add
Yeah,
one
sure.
more thing,
Yeah, go
Jeff?
ahead.
I just think
No, you're good.
this was a good perspective last week, and somebody said to me, I can sign a high school kid, no matter how good they are or aren't, and I'm worried every day if they're going to leave. If they average 25 a game, I'm worried about them leaving.
Right.
If they average 2 a game, I'm worried about them leaving. Or I can sign a transfer kid and know that I'm going to get them for 3 years because they already transferred once.
Right.
So the chances of them transferring the second time, if they transfer again, now they have to sit a year.
Right.
And that was great perspective to me because why do I want a freshman that's 18 when I can get a 19 or 20-year-old and know I've got them for 3 years, as opposed to if they get 25 a game, they're transferring up. If they get 2 a game or sit the bench, they're leaving and going home.
Right. And, I go back and think about, not only the high school players, but the players who were recruited by a coach or something. That coach leaves, and I'm going back to, what Deion Sanders said when he walked in. He was like, I'm bringing my dogs with me. And, right. And look at how many kids now have, up their, college career where they thought they were going to spend 4 years, and now they're going somewhere else. And it gets kind of crazy. So we'll end it with this, and it's just kind of another subject, but I'd love to have the perspective of coaches. More and more states now, we're looking at the NIL for high school students. Thoughts on that? And for me, I think, I get it, but I also think they're high school kids, where's the leadership in it? Where's somebody mentoring them, helping them through that situation?
That problem exists in college. I'm sorry, I mean, jump
No,
in.
go, no, yeah.
But I don't care what. I mean,
Well, that's
if you're a
another
college
thing, too.
kid. Some of these college kids are getting. They don't understand how to pay taxes on this.
Right.
They don't have really what NIL has done. There's good. There's good.
No, right, sure.
Kids deserve a piece of this giant TV money pie.
I
Right.
agree, yeah.
But there's I don't do basketball, but the basketball downside of recruiting I always heard was they get handlers involved. They got these AU guys that try to get in the middle of the process or lead the process, want their hands greased or whatever. NIL has basically forced a family that's not looking to have somebody. They've said, hey, bring somebody to the table because here's a contract. As a parent, responsibly, you're going to have your child sign a contract without somebody educated in what that contract language is and what could be and should be. And I think it's, you sign an NLI, what happened today, those aren't negotiable contracts. I mean, that just kind of is what it is. This what it is, right? NIL is completely negotiable.
Right.
And if you're going to do right by your son or daughter, you kind of want to have that thing reviewed by a professional. That's what they're looking at and what the terms are and what the consequences are and what exclusivity issues or not. I think when you talk about high school kids, some states don't allow it. California is one that does.
Right.
I think it introduces a whole different level of complexity and issues with kids. And I think the real issue with NIL for me isn't kids getting paid, but at any level, it's how do you manage your team culture and what does it do to the locker room and what does it do to, the team before me, that kind of thing. I think that's where there's going to be a real challenge.
I mean, and I used the word earlier, and maybe not as much with the portal, but the purity of the game.
That part I agree.
Purity
Now purity, I'm with you.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah, no, that is exactly it. That the whole time I'm listening, that is exactly it for me. I think it really it's disruptive to your locker room, to your culture. I think you've got a kid who is getting X amount of dollars in this this agreement that he signed, and so some other kid who thinks, hey, I'm just as good, and you've got you hope that it doesn't disturb or disrupt the character of that kid, but it may, and then. That kid's coming in, he's got this and he's got that, he's flashing these things, and other kids kind of want that. And so no longer is your focus on like team goals and team, things that are important to team and having that kind of success. It's like, I want what he's got, and if he's got that, I want that. And as a coach, you start managing things that really you didn't have to before. And so I'm not a fan of it. I think at the collegiate level, I think the kids needed maybe to get something. I think there was a rush to let's just do this so the kids have something because it's such a push for things to happen. But I just don't think the NCAA's got their hands really around the whole thing, their arms around it. I just don't think they're
the full picture.
Yeah, I don't see it. I just think it's already gotten a little bit out of control.
Whack.
Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah, I would just piggyback what Ron said. It seems like it's the wild, wild west right now, and I don't know how you bring the wild, wild west back in once it's already been out there. Obviously, there's money to be had in women's basketball. Full disclosure, it's not nearly what there is in men's basketball and in football. And so I agree that, I remember when a couple of our student athletes were getting recruited even a few years ago, it was, hey, are they going to get a cost of living stipend? And that was a huge deal, that the kids were going to get a cost of living stipend, and it was this much at school X and school Y and school Z. And now it's literally everybody negotiating on their own. And I agree with what both of these guys said. In a team sport where you're trying to preach selflessness, where you're trying to preach sacrifices, I just think it's incredibly difficult if, let's say, Ron's the starting point guard and I'm the hotshot point guard that just gets signed. Ron has a $100 car wash deal and they offer me $2 million to come in. That becomes pretty difficult in the locker room.
Well, guys, Coach, congratulations on the state championship.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. To you guys, best of luck the rest of the season. I know you're in conference play. Get to the tournaments, get to the playoffs, see what happens there. And thank you for what you do for our kids, for our community. We greatly appreciate it.
thank you.
Make sure you check out Providence Day and all that good stuff they got going on there. And thank you for watching this entire time. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, whatever you do with your social media and wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, we'll see you soon.